He chose a Sunday. That part stayed with me longer than anything he said. Sundays in our family had a rhythm, late tea, overlapping conversations, the kind of ease people mistake for permanence. He stood in the middle of it like he'd been waiting for a stage. I've finalized it, he said, almost casually. The beach house. It's being sold. It's time. There was a brief pause, the kind that comes before people decide whether something is a joke. Then questions followed, layered over each other. When? Why? How much? He answered smoothly, already prepared. I didn't interrupt. From where I was sitting, I could see the edges of things he couldn't. The way he avoided specifics unless pressed. The way he said, we decided without looking at my sister. The way everyone else filled in the blanks for him because it was easier than challenging the certainty in his voice. I held my cup and let it cool. The house wasn't just a property to me. Years ago, before anyone thought to argue about it, I had bought it quietly, not to control anything, not even to surprise anyone. At the time, it felt like stabilizing something fragile, keeping it from slipping into debt, into legal messes, into the kind of slow loss families don't talk about until it's too late. The paperwork had been clean, the transfer quiet. I didn't announce it because nothing needed announcing. The house stayed in the family. That was enough, or I thought it was. Across the room, he kept talking. Numbers now, renovations, a contractor. He said the word contractor with confidence, like it anchored everything else. That was the only moment I felt something shift. A week earlier, I had received a call. Not dramatic, not urgent, just careful. The contractor he mentioned had reached out, not to accuse, but to clarify. There were documents submitted under my name that didn't match any authorization I'd given. Signatures close enough to pass at a glance, but wrong in the details that matter. I thought you should know, the man had said. Before anything moves further, I thanked him and asked a few questions. Dates, copies, timing. After that, I didn't rush. Back in the living room, someone laughed lightly, already imagining the sale as something real, something decided. My sister looked between faces, trying to match the room's tone. She hadn't said much. Buyers are lined up, he added. It's practically done. Practically. I set my cup down. Which documents did you finalize? I asked. It wasn't loud, but it changed the direction of the room. He turned toward me, smiling in that polite way people do when they think a question is just a formality. All of them, he said. Standard process. Under whose authorization? A flicker, small but visible. Family authorization, he replied. We all benefit. I nodded, as if that answered something. It didn't. The conversation tried to move forward again, but it had lost its ease. There's a point where confidence starts to sound rehearsed, and people feel it even if they can't name it. Minutes passed, maybe more. Then there was a knock, not urgent, not hesitant either, just precise. No one moved at first. My sister glanced toward the door, then at him. He frowned slightly, as if interruptions didn't fit into his version of the day. I stood up. I'll get it. The hallway felt quieter than the room I'd left behind. When I opened the door, the contractor stood there, just as composed as he had sounded on the phone. Two uniformed officers were beside him, not imposing, just present in a way that left no room for interpretation. Good afternoon, one of them said. We're here regarding a report about falsified property documents. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. I stepped aside. Come in. The shift in the room was immediate but contained. Conversations stopped mid-thought. People straightened without realizing they had. Authority doesn't raise its voice. It changes what matters. The contractor spoke first, addressing me with a brief nod before turning to the officers. He explained what he had found: discrepancies in signatures, mismatched authorization, documents submitted under assumptions that didn't hold up under verification. No one interrupted him. When they asked who had handled the submission, all eyes moved in the same direction. He tried to respond, but the certainty from earlier didn't return. It's difficult to improvise when the structure you're standing on has already been measured. I was acting on behalf of the family, he said, quieter now. On whose legal authority? One officer asked. Silence answered first. I stepped forward then, not out of urgency, but because it was the only moment that required me. The property is registered under my name, I said. It has been for several years. There was no authorization given for any sale. I didn't elaborate. I didn't need to. The officer nodded, making a note. The contractor handed over copies, clean, factual, indifferent to emotion. The kind of documents that don't argue, don't interpret, they just stand. What followed wasn't dramatic. No raised voices, no sudden collapse, just procedure. Questions asked. Statements clarified. A request for him to step outside to continue the discussion. He hesitated for a moment, as if expecting someone to intervene on his behalf. No one did. When the door closed behind them, the room felt smaller. No one looked at me directly at first. It wasn't avoidance exactly, more like recalibration. The version of events they had accepted minutes ago didn't exist anymore, and people needed time to understand what replaced it. My sister sat down slowly. She didn't speak. I didn't fill the silence. There was nothing to explain that wouldn't sound like justification, and I wasn't interested in that. The truth had already arrived in the only way that mattered, externally verifiably, without needing me to argue for it. After a while, someone asked a soft, uncertain question about the house. Not ownership this time, just what happens now. It stays, I said. It was the simplest answer and the only honest one. No one celebrated. There wasn't anything to celebrate. Control hadn't been taken. It had just been clarified. Through the window, I could see movement outside, measured, procedural, the kind that continues whether or not anyone is watching. Inside, the room remained quiet, not peaceful, not broken either. just changed in a way that wouldn't reverse itself easily. I picked up my cup again. The tea was cold now, but I drank it anyway.